The Church of All Saints stands on rising ground overlooking the Thames plain at the junction of London to Southend and Brentwood to Tilbury roads. It is built almost entirely of brick. The chancel, nave, tower, north and south transepts and north chapel date from the last quarter of the 15th century. The south chapel and porch were added during the first quarter of the succeeding century. An interesting and possibly unique feature of the church is the pair of two-storied transepts, supposed to have been the living quarters of chantry priests. The present building is the second, possibly the third, church to stand on the site. The village of Turinduna, Thornhill, referred to in the Domesday Survey, may already have had a small Saxon church on the clay hill which gives the village its name. After the Conquest, the parish contained two manors: Heron on the north side, long associated with the Tyrrell family, and Abbots, close to the church, on the south side, held for centuries by the monks of Waltham Abbey. The porch is the most recent addition to the church, dating from about 1540, during the reign of Henry VIII. Porches were used for weddings, funerals, etc., as well as for parish meetings and other civic gatherings. Even today, porch doors are used to display official notices. See the fine Tudor doorway to the nave and the well-preserved wooden door. Climbing the stairs, you enter the south gallery, a pleasant living room for the chantry priest in pre-Reformation times. Note the Tudor fireplace. The staircase is recent, having been put in after 1567, when the rood loft which connected the north and south galleries was dismantled, during the reign of Elizabeth I. Descending back into the porch, we enter the nave, noting the ancient stonework round doors and at corners of walls. When the nave, transepts, chancel and tower were rebuilt by the Tyrrells in about 1470, during the reign of Edward IV, they reused the Norman stonework. Many of these stones still bear chisel marks from when fashioned 800 years ago. Note the fine original roof beams, as sound today as when erected over 500 years ago. This is the south transept, known as the Peter Chantry. Chantry chapels were dedicated to prayer for the soul of the founder of his family and tenants in perpetuity, but their use for this purpose was made illegal during the reign of Henry VIII. The name chantry arises because the Mass was chanted or said here, whereas it was sung in the chancel. This is the South Chapel, or Tyrrell Chapel. Written on the will of Sir Thomas Tyrrell, dated 1510, reads, "My body to be buried in the south side of the choir of the Church of East Horndon, and there, by the direction of my executors, to be made a chapel with a convenient tomb over my said body, to the charge and value of 100 marks." This is the table tomb, the limestone slab that was engraved in Normandy in 1440 to the memory of Lady Alice Tyrrell, who died in 1422, wife of Sir John Tyrrell. Alice had 9 children, but 10 figures are shown to balance up the design. Their names can still be easily read after 540 years. We now enter Tyrrell Chantry, where the will of Sir Thomas Tyrrell, 1411 to 1476, reads, "I will that there be a tomb of timber or of stone for me and my wife, Anne Marney, died about 1480, according honestly to our degree." If you climb the ancient brick stairs to the North Transept Gallery, you will see some interesting pictures which are on display. This is the best place to view the Tyrrell Chapel and well-proportioned stone arcade. At ground level, the outline of the position once enjoyed by the Norman font is picked out in quarry tiles. The font was removed to Great Wakering during 1969 and has never been returned. The north door is blocked with a stone slab which may have once served as an altar top. Stone altars had to be taken down and replaced with wooden tables during the 1570s. Note the recess either side of the doorway for a large wooden beam to slide across to keep the door securely shut. Sir Thomas Tyrrell, 1411 to 1476, wrote in his will of the Tower, "I will that if I make not up in my lifetime to the said steeple which I have begun at East Horndon, that my executors see that it is made up and done to the worship of our Lord, and that it be made sure in such wise that the steeple fall not down." It fell down a century later, and again more recently. Throughout the ages, people have sought immortality, some by creating, some by destroying, and a few by scratching their mark in public places. Look at the brickwork both inside and outside the tower door for examples. Some marks date back over 100 years. Please duck when using this doorway, it's extra low. During World War II, an enemy bomb exploded close to the church, destroying much ancient glass and further weakening the general structure of the building. Little was done to save the church until 1962, when funds were made available for urgent repairs. Then one disaster followed another. A tramp set the tower alight, causing much damage, and thieves broke in and stole brasses, woodwork and armour, and also, with great enterprise and daring, the 4 ancient bells from the tower. In 1970, when it seemed all was lost, a small committee under the chairmanship of Christopher Starr was formed and began a campaign to save the church and preserve it for the nation. A public meeting was held in the church on All Saints' Day, 1970, attended by nearly 200 supporters, and the Save All Saints campaign was launched. During the following weekends, working parties met at the church to clear rubble and to make the ruined wharf and tower as watertight as possible. By the following January, the interior of the church and the grounds were presentable once again. During this period, and until the following summer, the church was regularly patrolled by campaign members, and further acts of vandalism were successfully prevented. By mid-June 1971, a survey of the building had been made, and following this, a national appeal was launched in order to raise the $5,500 needed for essential repairs. An association named the All Saints Society was formed to put the work of the campaign on a permanent basis. Very soon, donations began to pour in. Many private individuals gave generously, and in addition, the Friends of Friendless Churches made a grant of £100, the Ford Trust of Britain £200, and the Essex County Council £250. Today, under the leadership of the very able Secretary John Dowling, a summer season of free concerts are held on certain Saturday evenings during June and July. These concerts make full use of the wonderful acoustics at All Saints.